Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different just because I've normally done things related with makeup or with beauty, but I thought it would be really fun to film like a vlog type of thing about my journey with my pregnancy and just my journey being a mom. So I asked you guys to ask me some questions, things that you were curious about with regards to my pregnancy or with regards to just me being a mom in college, and you guys came through and you guys sent me like over 30 questions, which I was not expecting, but thank you guys so much for doing that. So yeah, this video is just gonna, I think I'm gonna do different videos. This video is going to be talking about just the whole journey and then my pregnancy during college, because I am a college student. I'm a current junior, almost to the end. I'm going to start out with my pregnancy journey from the very beginning to the very end, kind of, I guess, like a story type of thing, while also answering your guys' questions, which I wrote down on these little note cards. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for being here and for supporting me and for sending me questions. I hope if you're watching this and it's just out of curiosity or out of you supporting my videos, thanks for being here. But if you're watching this because you're going through something similar, just know that you're not alone. Everything is going to be okay. And yeah, I hope that my journey can help you out in some way. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the video. What was your initial reaction to your pregnancy, or to finding out that you were pregnant? It was just a wave of emotions, honestly. It was maybe like a month into my sophomore year of college, which was last year. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock, and then I was like super scared and nervous, and honestly I didn't even think about like far ahead. The only thing that I was just thinking about was, what the hell am I gonna tell my parents? Oh, that's a good segue to the next question. How you felt knowing you had to tell your parents? I was scared out of my mind. I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know what to do. I literally freaked out. I reached out to a close friend who also went through pregnancy while she was in college, and you know, she had a different reaction from her parents, so she wasn't really able to help me out too much, but she was definitely super supportive, and I know she knows. If she watches this video, she's gonna know that I'm talking about you. Much love to you. Thank you so much for being there for me. But yeah, I talked to her and that helped me out a lot. Obviously talking to my son's father. I also reached out to some people at my school. I reached out to my advisor at school. I know it might be like a difficult and kind of weird conversation to have, but the people at your school are there to help you. They're there because they care about you. They care about your education. I mean, obviously not all of them are gonna like be super committed to you, but at least at my school, most of the teachers, most of the professors, most of the people that work there honestly care about you, and that's what I love about my school. So I went to my advisor and I told her about it, and I was like, I don't know how to tell my parents. And she was like, it's one of those things where you kind of just have to rip the band-aid off. And she's right. There's no like sugarcoating it. There's no like beating around the bush. You just have to do it. My situation isn't going to be the same as everybody else's, but somebody asked me how they reacted. They were obviously in shock. I think the easiest thing is to just talk to them and be honest. And if you have a plan, it'll help you out a lot. But at the same time, you have to let them react how they're going to react. You have to give them their time. You have to respect them. You have to ask them for their support, and if God unwilling, I don't know if that's a phrase, but if they really don't want to support you, then just say, you know, I'm heartbroken that you're not supporting me, but you know, God made this happen for a reason, and I have to move forward. And so yeah, that was kind of my mindset. But not really that I thought that they weren't going to help me out. I knew that they were going to help me out. My parents are always super supportive, and the first thing that they said was, you don't have to worry about anything. We're going to support you. We're going to support your son. We're going to help you in any way that we can, and you're not going to go through this alone. So I really appreciate my parents for doing that. And then I also just reached out to, there's a club at my school that's kind of, I think it's centered around like pro-life events, but just also, I don't remember if I saw this. I think it was in a bathroom stall, and they have things such as like pregnantoncampus.com or .org or something like that, and I visited that, and it took me to the club at my school, and they said something like we help pregnant students or whatever. Like, I just kind of like, I saw that and I was like, okay, I'm gonna reach out to them because I feel like they're gonna help me out a lot. And they did so much for me. They threw me a baby shower, they sent me a lot of prayers, they give me Christmas gifts, and you know, they've helped me out a lot. So definitely, if you're going through this, if you're watching this and you're going through something like this, definitely see what kind of resources your school has, because also if you're looking for housing, your school can probably help you with that too. But just literally look for the resources, and oftentimes your school is going to definitely help you. So that's something that I'm really grateful for, is that my school had that, and I really appreciate every single girl that helped me from that club. So yeah, that's another thing. Another question, were there some days during pregnancy that affected schooling and work? Absolutely. I think I'm one of the lucky ones. I didn't really get morning sickness during my first trimester. Obviously, I had a few days here and there where I was just kind of like queasy, but just like meh, like not really that big of a deal. I was just tired all of the time. Like, it didn't matter how much sleep I would get, I would just be exhausted. And it sucked because sometimes I would just be sitting in class and I'd just be like, I can't even focus. Like, I'm so tired. But you know, that's just one of the things that comes with pregnancy. You're just going to be tired a lot. And then also with work, I had actually just quit a job that I was at right before I found out. And so of course right after I found out, I was like, I need to get another job. Like, I need to start saving up. So I got another job, and that job required me to stand for my entire shift, which was often 10-hour shifts. And granted, I was only maybe like a month or two pregnant at this time, but let me tell you, when I got home, I was dead. I was exhausted. My feet were swollen, my head hurt. I was just super tired, and I was just like, I can't do this type of job. This is way too much on me, and I'm not even that far into my pregnancy yet, and I'm already feeling like this. So I had to quit. Among other things, I quit, but that's besides the point. So I quit that job, and then I got another job, and I was blessed enough that they were super understanding, and I was at a retail store. They just left me up at the register, and they allowed me to sit down. All the customers were really nice, and all the people there were super nice as well, and I worked there right up until maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before I was due, and they were kind enough to let me have pretty much my entire summer with my son, and then I got to go back to work. I think also then later on, another question was it difficult dealing with pregnancy symptoms while going to college every day? Later on, while I was bigger, it was, I think, during second semester, and I guess it's not really a symptom, but it was just, I tried to wear baggy clothes just because I hated just being in like tight clothing, but that kind of like hid it for a long time, up until the point where it was like inevitable, like I was a walking egg basically. And so one thing I really did hate was the fact that everyone would stare, especially at school. They would just kind of be like, and I definitely saw some like eye rolls, or some people just kind of like weirded out at the fact that I was pregnant in school. But I was surprised at how many people were super supportive, and they were like, oh my gosh, congratulations, like that's so great. And so many people were like, I made a whole bunch of friends because of the fact that I was pregnant, and they came up to me and like congratulated me. So that was really great. And then also I had 2 classes that were, most of my classes are on one side of the campus, and then 2 classes were on the opposite side of campus. And there's only one parking lot where off-campus students can park. And so I had to walk. And it was getting to me, honestly, that little walk. For some people, it's like, yeah, it's a walk. Like, it's not that far. The campus isn't that big. But for me, as like heavy as I was and like carrying a whole nother human inside me, it was a hard walk. And then also having to go up and down stairs, I was winded. And so that was, honestly, that was probably one of the worst things, having to deal with just like walking and just being winded and kind of just like sitting and being uncomfortable in class. And oh my gosh, don't even get me started about my feet swelling up. I couldn't fit into any shoe and it was just super uncomfortable. And I hated it. I hated the fact that my feet were always swollen and my hands were always swollen. And I was just hot all of the time, even though it was super cold outside. So that was really tough. But you know, it's something that doesn't last forever. So I kind of just, I had to get through it. And then another thing was, how did you deal with your finals or with schoolwork? I actually was lucky enough that my son was due right before summer break started. Actually, he was due on finals week, which kind of sounds rough, but I was lucky enough that I talked to my professors that I did have finals with, and some of them let me take my finals early, or they let me do alternatives for it, or they let me take it later on in the summer, or this past semester, my fall semester of my junior year. So honestly, I just had to talk to them, and all of them were completely understanding and completely helpful. So that's something that was great. Last question. How painful was childbirth? I didn't have a childbirth where like the ones you see in the movies where you kind of just, your water breaks and you're like, everybody freaks out. My son was due on May 7th and he was born May 9th. So I was induced, and I think I was induced May 8th. Yeah, May 8th at like 11 p.m. And so that entire night I had to deal with contractions, which sucked because I couldn't fall asleep and I was just in a lot of pain and I felt like I couldn't breathe and it was just really painful. So that part sucked. But then in the morning at like 10, the anesthesiologist came and she gave me an epidural, and I know there's some people that are like completely against that and some people that are completely for it. I'm not like one of those types of people that is just like, oh no, it's super bad. I was super happy to have gotten the epidural because after that I didn't feel anything. Like, I had contractions left and right and I was just like, I was just knocked out. And I didn't feel anything, and people are like, did the epidural hurt? And I was like, no, it didn't. Like, they numb out the area around it and then they put the bigger needle in, and the little needles that they do before, it kind of like, it just felt like little pinches. But honestly, I really like the fact that I had an epidural and I would not change that for the world. I think just the hardest part of everything was after it wore off, and recovery was absolutely horrendous. And I'm not going to get into details because maybe some people don't want me to, but honestly, that recovery and just like getting used to my body having gone through this beautiful yet traumatic experience, it was tough, and it was a really slow process, but in the moment. But now looking back, it seems like it flew by. Like, my son's about to be a year old, so I would definitely say childbirth to me wasn't as painful. That's basically my pregnancy story, guys. So I'm gonna end it here. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope it was, I don't know, helpful for anyone that wanted to get advice, or if you're just watching because you're curious, or just, you know, to support me in my videos. I appreciate you regardless for being here, and please don't forget to share the video, subscribe, and give it a thumbs up. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me. Bye.